Okay. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Hello, is the voice fine?
1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Let's try if that's the right loudness. Is the voice fine?
Okay. Please say something.
Let's try
Okay,
loudness.
perfect. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, start. Please let us know. Please let us know. 1 minute, but it seems everything is fine, so if nobody will answer, but let us know. Like always, the stream, you guys, ladies and gentlemen, some questions, so let us know. Let me also double check because check by the way the voice, because sometimes like OB the Discord settings is like
Something's gone.
yeah, and all the updates that are coming out of Discord is like changing everything that you have set up. Like
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
it's like
Sometimes very
annoying. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think that we can start. By the way, if you are down to start as well, let me know.
Absolutely.
Okay, welcome
Let's do it.
everyone. Welcome everyone in the very new episode of my Dev Life show. Today, I'm joined with Oswin, aka Nimso, the creator of the game called Shallow Pond. I would like to say first of all, thank you that you joined us for today's episode. It's really a pleasure and an honor for me that you joined us for today's episode. And like I'm always saying, let's start with a little bit of introduction. So please introduce yourself for us.
So, okay, yeah, like you already said, I'm developing Shallow Pond, my heart's desire project, if you want to call it like that. I've been in the games industry for about 20 years.
I see.
But not as a solo developer, but working on games of different sizes. Started in animation and learned more and more about other fields. First, all the things in the art department, and then later on, I also switched into other areas and also worked with a lot of indie studios, with some bigger studios. But in the end, why I actually started this has been I tried different things in the last years, starting things, but never really came beyond a certain point.
I see.
Working on that because it didn't feel right. And when I started out in the first place, I actually wanted to do movies.
Oh, okay.
But later on, I realized, okay, maybe that's not really what you want to do.
I see.
And I started to tread comics, did illustration, etc., etc. Learned a lot about all of those fields, but now in recent years, especially one friend of mine who always poked me and told me like, well, you should start a game on your own, just try it. And I was always like, nope, I can't do that, that's too much, it won't work, because I know how much work it is, right?
True.
I know all the departments, I know
is,
what work is involved, the experience, and it was very, very intimidating to even start.
I see.
But yeah, in the end, it was also a bit because of Unreal Engine and blueprint coding. When I started dabbing my feet into coding, and I was like, okay, this might actually work. Let's give it a shot. And that's it. Yeah, that has been when I really started working on this game was about 1.5 years ago, when I just had the character walk around in an environment, and from there it evolved.
See.
And now I'm actually very confident that I will be able to finish it. I don't know exactly when, but um, that's, yeah. Because what you also have to know about me is I do this as a side project. I've got a family to support, and I've supported my family for a long time together with my wife, actually. For a long time, she took care of the kids, and I was just doing the work.
I
Now we
see.
split it to some degree, which is super nice, but still, I need to support my family. So,
True, true, true.
and when I work on a game like this, I want all of the decisions I make to be my own decisions
True,
and
understandable.
to
Yeah.
move it into a direction where I say, that's where I want to go,
True, true,
me personally, without any real constraints. So that's
true.
why, for me, it's as of now important to have like a day job and do this besides the day job,
I see.
to have the freedom of decision and not be bound to certain contracts.
I see. I see. I see. Do you think, by the way, that's if you would be working with others, it would like change this direction totally? Since you
Um,
mentioned that you get used to work with others in the video game
yeah,
industry as
I
well.
also I also tried starting something with others, but
I see.
the biggest thing that didn't work out was always that the motivation of each person
Yeah,
involved
it's very true. It's very true. Yeah.
and the life circumstances.
True, true,
Because
true, true.
you start at a certain point
You cannot
and
convince them to be with you forever, like, right? So
no, exactly. And
yeah,
also if there's like a struggle or a direction change of what we want to do, that's when it breaks at
true,
a certain point.
true, true, true. Yeah,
But
and
it doesn't have
it's
to be like
bad
that.
because if
For me,
you're
it's
relying
okay.
on them, then you won't be able to finish their work, right? If they are quitting your project.
Yeah, I think one of the things that come into play when you start with others and then the others go away from the project, the scope is way too big.
True, true,
Because right now the scope I have is it's also really big and I try to shrink it down as much as possible all the time. Sometimes it really works. Sometimes for me it's like, okay, but I want to have that. It has to be in there.
true,
So I think it's okay to put in some extra time, but I can't completely do the work of others. So,
true,
of course, when I do it solo, I have to have a lot of compromises in my project and in the way I work
true,
with it.
true, true,
But that's fine with me because all the decisions I have in the end they're going to be mine.
true, true, true. Like it's more safer, we can say, right?
Y- Yeah, yeah, and for me, it's also like that's the one road I haven't tried.
I
You
see, I
know,
see, I see, I
I
see, I
tried
see,
with others, so now that I do it on my own, I'm confident that it's going to be my own vision.
I see, I see. What could cause the effect, by the way, that for so many years that you mentioned you were working with other companies, you haven't stepped into this direction of making your own game solo? Like for so
Uh,
many years, right? 20 years, it's a lot of years. So
it's a lot, but I also had a lot of fun, you know, because
I see,
I was employed for 8 years, and then I was freelancer for most of the recent years.
I see, I see.
Um, So I had a lot of fun working on really nice projects, and I learned a lot along the way. So I was paid to learn, which
True,
was
true,
also
true,
great. So that informs my decision now. But I think the biggest thing that messed this decision up to start earlier into this direction has been school, because like coding in school, it was nothing, and I was
I can
completely
relate
drawn
to that.
away
Yeah,
from it. It was no fun. It didn't trigger anything in me.
true.
And it actually became that one big thing where I thought, okay, whatever I can do, I can't do that.
Yeah,
It's not going to work. And yeah, that was messed up for me. So
yeah,
that's one of the biggest points that
yeah. I can
made me.
sadly relate to that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We had that feeling at university too, sadly. I would say that it was like a very low quality education for programming, and even when you had like questions and you got stuck at a certain point of coding, even if I was making like my own projects, they weren't down to help us that much, like to really help us figure it out on our own way. They just had these like symbols of like how to make these projects happen. But if you had like very unique ideas and very unique questions, they were like, no, do this in this way. Your direction is not great, so don't do that way because it won't make it out to the public. So it was like crazy to me to see that
Yeah,
they are trying to form into shapes every knowledge of programming, and it's not about that, right? So it's like,
yeah. I think it's also the way this happens because, like here in Germany, where I live and where I'm from, it always feels like people involved in teaching coding to others at school, they also do this like as a side project because
true,
nobody else wants to.
true, true, true,
So
true,
they don't know like the bolts and whistles, everything
true,
about that field you need to know,
true,
and they can't trigger in yourself to find a reason why you want to do that.
true.
That's a big thing in
Yeah, like
school
they do not
because
have the passion. They're just doing it for either the money, or they would like to do it for the passion, but they do not have the time for it, right? To pursue it with passion.
yeah, not maybe also not the right resources
True, true,
to
true,
learn it right in the first place,
true.
which is sad because for me, I think especially learning to code is an essential skill for everyone because you
Yeah, I
can do
agree with that.
so
Yeah,
much with it.
yeah, yeah. It trains your brain into certain directions to help you think about other things in other ways as well. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Do you think, by the way, now that you're making your own games solo, it helped you also gain that knowledge and confidence in this field as well? Like you got back to your past, we could say, problems, and you solved these problems with being able to work.
absolutely, absolutely. Because yeah, it makes me way more confident in doing just more different things
I
and
see.
also understanding other parts of game dev
True,
way
true,
better
true, true.
that I didn't have to learn before because even though I was involved in a lot of things, at a certain point in the process, for me, it always stopped because I wasn't needed there
I
anymore.
see, I see, I see, I see, I see. So you couldn't continue the learning experience in those
Yeah,
directions. I see, I see. Would you, by the way, choose a mentor for you to learn programming and these fields that you weren't confident at the first time, or you were down on the road like now that you are learning it by yourself? Which one is
actually,
like more?
I do have a mentor.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't, I won't say who it is,
Oh, okay.
as long as he doesn't want me to, but it's also a solo dev who works on his own
Oh,
games,
nice,
and
nice, 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 nice.
it's actually a friend of mine. We got to know each other long years ago
I see,
in animation projects,
I see.
and he was the one who convinced me to try,
Oh, okay, okay,
and
okay, okay, okay.
and he also helped me and helps me like a lot along the way.
I
So
see.
I save a lot of time through the knowledge I get from him beyond certain obstacles that I would grind on like 2 months
True, true,
straight
true, true, true,
otherwise, and I just hop above them, which is
true.
it's a huge time saver.
That's the
And
meaning of a mentor, right? He helps you or
yeah,
she helps you like figure it out how to do it without mistakes, right? Because they might already been through those mistakes, so you don't have to, right? So
yeah, it's a lot of shortcuts you get
yeah,
from that.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
But you also at the same time you need to make sure, or yeah, just be a bit careful to still make sure that all the ideas are yours
True,
and
true,
that you
true,
just decide for the things
true,
that you yourself want to have in the game, mechanics wise, etc. So you always have to question that. But at least the both of us, we don't have a problem. We help each other actually, and it's a lot of give and take. And I think that's also a huge part, or that should be a huge part for everyone who's working in game dev,
true,
especially
true,
as a solo dev. You need to have people around you
true,
that support you,
true,
and also for your mental health. That's
true,
actually the
true,
biggest part.
true, true. Because there will be times, right, when we are like on the way of giving up our visions and dreams, and then you need people around you to help you get out of that state, right?
Yeah, when you talk to others, that's like the biggest part,
True,
that you just get into a road and you don't know where to move further,
true,
and you start to think about, okay, maybe that's not the right thing to do. Maybe I should do something completely different. That's actually a very dangerous situation you're in,
true,
because it could be that you're just a few days away from the right decision into a certain direction. But if you don't, yeah, if you're not patient and you're not trying to go beyond this point, then it would be sad if you just stopped instead
True.
of trying a bit more.
You won't be able to see that result that you always wanted with your knowledge. Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah, but
exactly.
still, at the same time, when I say it like that, it's not easy. It's not
True,
easy at
true,
all.
true.
So, and there's also no one to blame if you say like, I can't proceed. I can't make this game. I need to do something else, or I'm completely burned out. I need to do something else completely. I can feel that and understand that. And there's no one to blame because
True.
it's a miracle that a game even gets started, and it's beyond any miracle you could think of to finish a game.
Finish it, yeah, and
There's
release it. Yeah,
so much involved. It's so big.
yeah,
It's really, yeah.
yeah. So going back to the past life of yours, what was your very first contact, by the way, with video games as a player, if you remember those times of yours? So not as a
My very
developer,
first,
but player perspective.
yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, there are certain layers to that. Like the
Okay,
very first contact I had was with a Game Boy of friends
nice.
playing Spider-Man games, whatever. But I never, back then, I never had a Game Boy myself. So
I
the
see.
first device I could play on was like, I think it was a Commodore 128.
Okay,
But I don't really remember the games I played
I
back
see. I
then.
see. I
I
see.
played a few, but really the games I played that informed my decision to go into this direction, the strongest impact, yeah, I would mention like 5 games. So
Okay,
there's like Sam and Max Hit the Road,
nice,
Day of the Tentacle,
nice,
the first two Monkey Island games,
nice.
and that's actually the game that informed the decision to start with 3ds Max, learn like character animation, modeling, etc. That has been Command and Conquer.
Oh, okay, nice, nice, nice,
The
nice, nice.
cutscenes of Command and Conquer, actually,
Nice,
back
nice,
in the day.
nice, nice. I
I
loved
saw
Red
that in
Alert too, by the way. I played hell out, lots of Red Alert too. I love that game.
back then. I swallowed all of them as they
Nice,
came out.
nice.
But it was really like the cutscenes. But
Yeah,
and then there has always been a back and forth between realism and stylized things. But
true,
I completely embrace stylized. So that's what I like, and I think that's also very much informed through like the adventure games I mentioned, because that's at the core of them, and
true.
it's also the humor,
Yeah,
because even if you're not telling humor as a story, like as a written story, if your game has a humorous twist to it,
true,
it's not easy to find the right kind of humor for your kind of game.
true,
And working with humor in general is super tough. It's so
true.
tough
Yeah,
to
because
be
it
funny and not awkward in a way.
exactly, exactly, and it might not be appealing to everyone, right? So you have to search for that
That
middle ground
won't
with your
happen.
jokes.
Yeah, you can't make it appeal to everyone.
True, true,
So
true, true, true. So from that point of your life, when you loved playing video games as a kid, what was the first step when you realized that okay, now I would like to like step into the video game industry? And what was that first step when you like made it
mm,
into the
the
video game
first steps
industry
were,
as a person who is working in that field, in that territory?
yeah, it was a few years. I think when I was 16,
Okay.
I started. That's I think about that time when I
I see.
started thinking about like doing things with. Back in the day, it was 3ds Max I used. Now I use like all of the major packages, but um, back in the day, I learned that just for myself with a thick book I bought, which was with a lot of information that you don't need. But I tried to work myself through that, and because it's a long time ago, so back then resources were very, very limited that you
True,
could find
true.
online. So I had to learn it by myself. I also didn't have a mentor back then. Never had a mentor, actually.
I
All the
see.
companies I came to, I was the one who was supposed to mentor others. And that was also tough because I never had someone who mentored me.
I see. I see.
But when I started out, I started doing like short films, just short films, like a minute, 30 seconds, whatever. That's how I learned. That were the projects I gave myself to learn things.
Do you miss it, by the
And
way, making those short films? Because you mentioned that you always wanted to make movies as well, not just games.
I think that was the reason why I did them.
Okay.
But thinking about the time back then, it was an excuse to learn, to have like a goal
I see.
that you can grasp in a way.
I see.
But through that, I started going to university, and I didn't study animation or something like that,
I see.
but it was media and culture analysis, it was called here in Germany,
I see.
in Düsseldorf. But it was more journalist and philosophically aimed. But I made it like a movies and film study for me because the professors, they were very flexible in the kind of ideas you had for your exams.
I
So
see.
I
I see. I
always
see.
I had like I wrote one of those exams about Ratatouille from Pixar, etc.,
Nice.
etc. So and Fight Club, The Matrix, whatever, all
Nice.
the things
Nice.
that
Nice.
were
Nice. Nice.
up to date in that
We
time.
can say that he was a mentor for you, right? He saw a
Yes,
talent in you, right?
yes, in a way, of course, and I embraced that completely. And during that time, we had like a film fest, like a movie festival at the university that my course actually was responsible for it, and I decided with two other friends to do a short film, and
I see.
that became like an 8-minute short film that we did that I completely animated throughout the course of, I think, 3/4 of a year. Um, and yeah, that actually was one of the parts I used to apply at Ubisoft, um,
Oh, okay.
who were also located in Düsseldorf. So close
Nice.
to the end of my bachelor degrees, I went there and asked them if they would like to have an animator just for starting out, like unpaid, whatever. I don't know. I just wanted to dip my feet into that. And that's how I got in there,
Nice.
working on the Settlers 6, the Settlers 7 games.
Nice. Nice.
And
Nice. Nice. Nice.
pretty quickly, I just became the lead animator because I was lucky that the old lead we had, he left.
I see.
So they took me to do the job. And that's when it started. So you can say a lot of it was just self-taught and also a bit of naivety in a way that I was like, hey, let's just try that.
I see.
But I wanted to finish my studies. That was important for me because I didn't like school at all, only to a very small degree, but most of school I didn't like. And I didn't want to go to school or university ever again.
I see.
So I made sure I wanted to have a master's degree to get that behind me.
I see. I see. Would you or did you want it to like have a mentor back then, by the way? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I would have liked to have
I see.
mentors. I bought some online courses, etc. Back then, it was like Keith Lango is an animator, a 3D animator who back in that day, he published a lot of good character animation courses.
I see.
I bought them, and that was a great help. But it was never like directly mentoring
Directly,
me.
yeah, yeah, like a personal on a personal level. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I see. I see. I see. I see. Were your family members, by the way, and close friends supportive about this decision that you stepped into the video game industry? How do you feel about that? Because you mentioned before in our talk together that it was always important for you to have this supportive, mentally supportive background.
Yes, you have to have it.
True, true, true. I agree with that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because nobody really ever stood in my way on this path. I was allowed to do it.
I
Also
see.
now, my wife, my kids, especially when I now work on a game, they know that it satisfies me. They know that all the people I have let it played so far, they had a huge fun time playing it, just with private play tests, like at birthday parties, whatever. I just brings a Steam Deck with me, lets him play. They see that people have fun. My kids also have a lot of fun playing it, and always
Yeah, the
come
biggest
to my
fans
desk.
and playtesters.
Yeah. So I'm very, very supported by my surrounding.
I see.
Although, of course, a lot of my friends, they don't have a clue what I'm doing, so they don't know what it involves. Not at all.
Does it bother you, by the way, or no?
I think a lot of years ago, when you start, especially like working on games, everybody thinks you're a programmer, even if you're not. So
It's true. Yeah.
as if someone who's writing a story, who's using Word or whatever as a software, they are programmers too. So I need to know which buttons to push, etc., in the right order and for the right duration, and that's what I do. That's not programming in that case. And back then, it bothered me because I wanted to be understood differently, but I learned that it's just the way it is.
True.
Like people simplify, and it's
True.
fine.
True. True.
I do
True.
the same.
True.
When
True.
it's a certain field I don't know anything about,
Yeah.
I also get like the wrong
Yeah, we
understanding.
put others into boxes of like types,
Even
right?
if you
That's
don't
you're a
want to, it just
programmer,
happens.
you're a coder. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you're like a game dev, especially when you're a solo game dev, then you're a solo game dev, which means you have to be everything
True.
of that.
True.
You never like every part of the same kind of quality.
True.
Of course, I have a stronger connection to visual things
True.
than to other things, but I try to compensate and take all the things I know and build something that makes sense.
True. True. Yeah. You mentioned, by the way, having joy throughout your solo project. What was your favorite part or parts so far throughout the process of making your game?
And one of the favorite parts really has been when I started going online with it.
Okay.
Like, I don't know exactly when it was. I think it was around September last year
I see.
or a bit earlier, like that. Because before it was always only a few friends knew about it, nobody else.
I see.
And when I start showing it, it was just not because of my big ego, who's like, yeah, I'm great. It was the kind of response I got because I just show the things the way I want to show it, and I'm not showing it because of the applause I get. I show it because I want to have input
True. True.
to see how it feels for others and also to get feedback. Because I also, and that's actually one of the most fun parts. Some of the things I did in the game up to this point, important decisions, have also been informed by the info I got and the responses I got
I
on
see.
social media.
I see. I see.
And that's a big part. I think that's also a very important part because when you get the response, even if it's negative or whatnot, if it's like the right kind of response and you filter it through your lens and you know what's actually behind it,
True.
which is tough, but when you manage that, there's a huge chance to not put your game onto the wrong track.
True. True. Very true. Yeah.
Also for yourself, because of course, in the first place, you have to do it for yourself, not for others.
True. True.
But of course, you want others to like it.
True. True. It's a very tough challenge to balance those two things. In my opinion, like to still be on track with your vision and still like be appealing to others as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
learning phase, I guess.
of course, it eats up a lot of time as well
True. True. True.
that you could spend otherwise. That's why I also had like a phase. I think now in December, I completely disconnected from online
I see.
to work on things that were very, very important to me. And it made a huge difference. And there's going to be a time when I do that again, because in the end, I want to do a good game.
True.
So I need to invest the time to make a good game. and not to just think others
True.
that they think I'm doing a good game, but it's all like
It's their game,
that
right? More their. It's their game, but not yours. Yeah, 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 yeah.
not only that, but when you, for instance, work on a trailer, etc., you can shape it in a way that the game feels a certain way,
True,
but you're not still there yet. So
true,
you
true,
also
true.
don't know if it's going to work out. So that's why I, at least for me, try to work on a small demo now, that I can release, or at least show a certain amount of people, way more than I've shown it so far, to get their feedback
True,
about the actual game and about the actual gameplay, because that's what I'm interested in.
true, true. By the way, you mentioned trailers. I feel like people forget it that trailers were always like very important, and nowadays it's like getting out of hand, in my opinion, because like I see so many trailers that are not so like being able to hype up people. Back in the day, like 10 years ago, I remember that all of those games, even in the indie scene, even in the AAA scene, like there were professional people in both indie scene and AAA scene who were making those trailers, right? And they it was like a job, you could say, that they with the trailers they wanted people to hype them up for the game release, right? And nowadays I feel like a lot of people do not understand it. That it still would be important, right, to have a trailer that catches
You have
your
to have
eye
it.
and brain and mind, and that okay, I need this game. I would like to buy it.
Yeah, trailer is important, and of course I will also have to have a trailer, but I don't want to be bound by the expectations the trailer offers
Yeah, it's
when I
understandable.
release it too
Yeah,
early,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
then I
Yes,
trigger an
that's the other side
expectation.
of the same
Yeah,
box.
that's
Yeah,
also one of the things a lot of people, when they see game trailers and it has been released super early, they question later on
true,
if that's really the game, or if the promise is broken in a
true,
way.
true,
So
true,
that's it's tough, but of course you need it. There's no way around it.
true, true, very true. But that's again like we talked about it before our stream yesterday. That people do not understand it. That sometimes during the process of making a game, you have to cut something out, right? And if that thing that was cut out from the game itself was in the first trailer, maybe, then of course people have expectations that hey, it's not there anymore. But they should understand it that it might had
And you have
some.
to do it actually,
Exactly,
because that's
exactly.
also with other game dev friends, that's one of the big things that comes up a lot of times, that, oh, I've got this feature, but I don't want to have it, or I can't have it anymore because it doesn't make sense
True, 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 true,
for the game I have at hand right now compared to when I released the trailer. But you still have to cut it out, because otherwise you're risking that the game is not going to be as good as you would like it to be.
true,
And certain thoughts you have had at a certain point, you have to question them
true.
for, yeah, for the sake of getting a good game.
Very true, very true. You talked about your favorite part and parts. What about the hardest parts of the process of making the game of yours on your own?
The hardest part is
Or
always
parts,
when
if there are
you,
more, of course.
yeah, of course there are more. There are
Okay.
also more good parts, but
True, true,
talking
true.
about the hardest parts, it's because just like a small detour into the good direction, to not because I only said, like, when I released it or I showed it to people, of course the whole process in itself is super rewarding, because you can have fast decisions into certain directions. And talking about the bad things, um, it's the other side of that coin, right? So when you
True,
hit a plateau and you don't know how to proceed, and you're struggling at certain parts, when you learn something new, when you try to revise something where you thought, okay, that's going to be easy, and it won't be easy,
true,
not at all. And in the end, you have to decide to not do this. Like having a feature, you try to implement it, but you realize, okay, that's way too big to swallow for me. I have to get rid of it. That's part of the tough decisions you have to make, but you have to make them.
true. True.
And then again, about the bad parts, of course, if I'd like to, I would just think all of the time I have into working on this game, but I can't, which is sad. But at the same time, it's also okay, because to have a certain balance is also very, very good. When you think all your time and all your efforts into like one thing, it might eat you up. So it's
True.
good to have a balance.
True. True. Very true. Speaking of this topic, by the way, would you ever wanted when you started this project of yours to go like full time dev, or you still have this dream to go full time with your
That, that's
games?
that's that's of course a dream.
I see.
That's a dream, but that's a dream. I don't dream in a naive kind of
I
way,
see. I see. I see. I see.
because of course, when you think about it, of course I would like to spend all my time just working on the things I love the most. But
True.
at the same time, when you rely on that, when it becomes your bread and butter completely, then what you do with it will also change. So, and I watched like big corporations in bigger games, what they do to the game dev team, etc. So I think the biggest lever I can have is to control what I do
I see.
for the most part, without completely relying on the money I could get out of that.
I see. I see.
So then, yeah, I think it's a yes and no in a way.
I see. I see. Speaking of, by the way, art and influence and everything that you have put into your game, I believe that all of us creators who create our own craft, we always tend to put our inner self into the project to make. Is this statement of mine true for your own project that you are making now as well? And if the answer is yes, what examples could you bring to the table?
Um, for me, it's true.
Okay,
I try, at the same time, I try to have a certain disconnection on purpose,
I see. I see.
to not be completely bound by it in a
I
way,
see.
and to take everything personal. For instance, if someone doesn't like it and trolls me, whatever, I don't want to have it so close at heart that it really, really hurts.
I see. I see.
But on the other hand, of course, I completely sink myself into it
I
and
see.
the things that are important to me.
I see.
And I think when you watch all the snippets on social media I publish, you understand what kind of game it is,
True.
and you
True. True.
understand what's important to me.
True. True.
And
We
at
talked
the
about
core of
that
it,
before. Yeah.
yeah, at the core of it, it's just, yes, it's cute and it's supposed to be cute, but it's not supposed to be cute because it sells better or whatnot. I
True.
don't
True.
know.
True. True. True.
But that's what I do. That's what people always tell me when I try to do something, and I try to do something gory, bloody, whatever. It won't work out with me as much, because I'm always drifting into the stylized cute direction,
I
because
see.
I love that. So that's what I want to do.
I see.
And therefore, when I do something on my own, it will always be put onto this rail.
I see.
It just happens.
I see.
And that's okay. And I actually like it. I like it a lot.
Nice. When you have discovered, by the way, this style of yours that you are talking about, huh? And was the
Throughout the
first
year,
time then? Oh, okay.
throughout the years, actually, it was. If you if you take a look at the Settlers 7 game,
Okay.
which is very, very stylized, with a very good style, especially on the character side. A very good friend of mine still, who was the lead character artist back then. We actually elaborated the style,
I see.
and a lot of the things I do now also show back then already, which was
I see.
2010 when it was released.
I see.
So yeah, it evolved throughout the years to stay within this direction, because I like it so much. And I always get, when I don't think, for instance, when I'm drawing in watercolor or painting in watercolor, it always drifts into this direction
I
when I
see.
do something.
It's like you can't lie, right? With your art.
I can't lie. It's in a way, it's a certain kind of signature style,
True.
at
True.
least to a degree. But yeah, I'm just drawn into this direction.
I see. I see. I see. What was the influence, by the way, behind the story of your game? I was wondering about that too.
That's funny because actually the character, Ripples, this little diver guy, I think I draw it in the first time I drew him has been like 2008 or
Okay,
something like that.
okay. So way before that you were thinking about your
Yeah.
game. I see.
And throughout the years, because I always do something with him in illustrations or whatever I do, and I try to find the right kind of product, if you want to
I
tell,
see. I see. I see. I see. I see.
and it would never fit. So I also try to do a comic, etc., and a
I see.
movie,
I see. So the
but it didn't.
journey of his, we could
Yeah,
say, right?
yeah, but it didn't fit. So it didn't really stick
Do
to
you
me.
think like it's him, you, it's him, like you, they are the same persona?
Maybe actually I would like to be able to perform the skills he has,
Okay.
and but yeah, maybe it's because yeah, maybe because what's important to me within this character is that he feels curious,
I see.
but at the same time untouched in a way, and that he's not a negative person.
I see. I
And
see. I
I
see. I
also
see.
try to be not a negative person
I
because
see.
I don't want to be a negative person. Although at times it's really, really
It's
tough.
hard. Yeah. Exactly.
It's super tough,
Exactly.
but it's worth trying all the
True.
time.
True. 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 Very true. Very true. Okay. We have spoken about changes as well. So how have you changed as a person in other territories of your life from being a game developer for so many years, for so many companies, and making your games as solo dev as well? What changes were there in your life from these experiences in other territories of your own life?
Yeah, well, I think throughout all those years, a lot of things have changed in the way that I have to have a lot more responsibilities
I
now.
see. I see.
And that's a big part because one part of me is a part of me who's working on Shallow Pond. He's trying to be the playful guy who just does what makes him tick in a way, and I
The kid
embrace
in
that.
you, we can say, right?
Yes, and I want it to be there. I
True.
don't
True. True.
want it
True.
to ever go away.
True.
That's
True.
also one of the
I
reasons why
respect that, by the way. I can relate to that, and I respect that. Yeah. Yeah.
it would be important for
That's
every
how you
person.
can stay nice and kind in this crazy world. I always say this.
Of course, when you take a look at kids, at least at a certain age, they never mean any harm to you.
True,
Of course,
true, true,
kids
true,
can also be pretty tough, also
true,
to other kids and
true,
in general, but that's through the experiences they gain. A
true,
kid in itself, I think, is never mean in a way.
true.
So, and that's what I want to try to keep.
I
And
see.
at the same time, I have to be an adult. I have to be a grown up. I have to
True.
pay my taxes. I have to pay my house,
The
whatever.
society
All this
rules,
stuff.
the bugs
Yes.
that we talked about. Yeah.
So you can't be a dreamer like I always have been full time.
True,
You have to find a balance where you're
true, true,
allowed to
true,
be a dreamer and
true,
where you're not allowed to be a dreamer.
true,
So I think that's the biggest part that has changed, that I'm not 25 thinking about, oh, that's my dream and I want to do it. And I grind it for 7 years and then I'm completely exhausted and something shatters. I try to do it in a sustainable kind of way.
I
That's
see.
important.
I see. I see. I see. I see. Do you think like or let's reform my question. What do you think could cause this effect in your life that you always were down on the road to be nice to everyone and cute and love others and stay true to your childhood life and inner
Um,
child? Because I think that a lot of people loses their inner child throughout the process of growing up. That's what I see from my experiences, at least.
it's very easy to lose it.
Yeah,
You can lose it around the next corner
exactly, exactly.
with a
Anything
snap.
bad happens to you and you will lose it for
Yeah.
like a snapping finger. Yeah, yeah.
But I think for me, it has always been when someone's mean to someone else,
I see.
it triggers something in myself. I don't like it.
I see. I see. I
I
see. I see.
simply don't like it. So when I'm mean to others, I'm not always like a super nice person. Nobody is.
True.
There are
It's true.
always situations in your
Everyone
life.
can be a dickhead sometimes. It's true.
Absolutely.
True.
And I'm not the person who is always super nice, but I
I
try
see.
to be.
I see.
And that's yeah, because of the harm I see others receive from other people, I try not to be this person.
I see. I see. I see. I see. I see. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Connecting to your inner child is also a very, very good way to get rid of all the things around you that
True.
don't matter.
True. 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 True.
Also, when you talk to others, when you I was feeling not very well when I was like looking a lot of political
I see.
situations,
I see. I see.
etc. All
That
the
that
stuff
can
that's
that can
happening in
drive
the world.
people crazy, right?
And it does, and rightfully so,
Yeah.
right?
True.
So
True. 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 True.
I try to not sink myself into that too
I
much
see. I see.
because it makes me feel bad.
True. True.
And on the other side, that's also one of the reasons why I do the game, because what it triggers in people, even now, it's not released, etc., but the way it is right now, it triggers in people that they feel good.
True.
And that's what I want to trigger.
True. 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 True.
Also for myself, when I work on it, it makes me feel good. Sometimes I just play for 20 minutes
True.
because I'm having fun and
True.
it's my own game. So
True, 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 very true, very true. I always say this that these projects that we make for ourselves or for others too, they are these shields that we or bubbles that we have around us when as kids, right? So we do not see all those bad habited informations from the society standards and from all around the world of that we live in. Yeah, yeah. By the way,
yes.
a very personal question. Sorry for interrupting. Go for that. Go for that.
No, I was just going to say, yeah.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. So it might be a very personal question. If you don't want to answer it, it's fine. But I will ask. I will be the dickhead now, all right?
Okay, be
So,
the dickhead.
so my question is that did you have, by the way, a very good childhood life? Because it's important for me to know now that we talked about it. Because I believe that those people, most of them at least, who can stay true to their inner kid, they had a very good parenthood. They had a loving family. They had a very good childhood. Is it true for you
Uh,
as well, or it's
not
not?
completely.
Not
I wouldn't
completely.
say
I
that.
see. I see. I see. I
Not
see.
completely, but I think that's one of the reasons where I managed to keep the dreamer in
I
myself
see. I see.
alive.
To get away from the problems, right? So
Yes, yeah, yes, exactly. So for me, I always managed to look at the things that were good to me,
I
that I
see.
liked.
I see. I see. I see. I
And
see.
that's also the memory I have from my childhood, because of course I had very, very good parts of my childhood, but others weren't as good.
True.
So,
True.
and I also, in a way, count school time into this because it wasn't like I was bullied or whatnot.
I
That's
see.
not the case, but I really didn't like the idea that somebody else tells me what I have to do
I see.
for a certain amount of years, and there's no way around that.
I
So
see.
for me, it always was clear I had to finish my studies. There's no way around it because that's the only way I free myself from all the stuff that society puts onto me.
True.
Of course, that wasn't true because there's still stuff society puts on me
True. 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 You
that I
cannot
have to
avoid
cope
that.
with.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't, but that's part of growing up, right?
True.
So,
True. True.
but yeah, about that question, I managed to keep the good things out of my childhood close to my heart.
I see. I see. Do you think, by the way, those people who lose their inner child in the way of their life, they will be able to like reobtain it at a certain point of their life in the future?
Absolutely, I saw it in friends of mine,
Okay,
and it happens when you like had a detour in your life.
I see.
You walked into the wrong direction, and then you realign to what's important to you and what you actually wanted to do. When you do that, then the inner child can come out again.
True, true. I can relate to that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw that in some of my friends' cases and their lives as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's really good when you see that.
True, true.
That's a really good feeling.
It still gives us hope, right? We could say for the good things to come.
You can always change your life,
True,
but
true,
the
true,
older you get, the harder it's going to be to take that turn.
true, true,
But it's possible.
true.
That's at least what I think. Others might think differently, but that's what I
No,
think.
I can agree with you on that. Yeah, yeah. Going back, by the way, to the topic of the demo of your game, you mentioned having a demo. When players can be expecting the demo of yours? I know that you mentioned that you're not trying to push a release date for the demo, but if you would have to say anything about it, is there this year? Is it this year or not sure?
Absolutely this year,
Okay,
but I
okay.
can't exactly tell you when. But
I see.
I'm first step I'm trying to do right now is to have like a very small demo
I see.
that people can try, and maybe then I'll release more of those. But that's I can't know that right now. So I know that I'm working on that.
I see.
I know that I'm doing like play testing with friends and family, and it's looking good.
Nice,
But
nice,
of
nice.
course, I still want to polish it to a certain degree, so it makes sense
I
to
see.
release it.
I see. What will be, by the way, the balance of the game within its story and the gameplay? Which segment will be there more in your game, like the story or the
Gameplay.
gameplay, or both?
The gameplay. The
Gameplay.
gameplay will be king. Um, that's why, for instance, when I play Kirby and the Forgotten Lands,
Okay.
I just start it up and I'm like that in the game, and that's what I like.
I see. I
I
see. I
don't
see.
like to have like 20 minutes of story you get up front. I want to
I
get my
see.
hands dirty. I want to be in the game and play. So, and that's always going to be the thing that matters most to me, and that will be a big, big part of my game,
I
that you
see.
just play.
I see. I see. I see. I see. I just asked this because, like you mentioned before, that you love the cutscenes in Red Alert games, right? So that's why I asked it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think, at least for me, that's what, especially when you have like a 3D platformer, you expect it to be very gameplay heavy.
True. True. It's true. It's true. And you are telling the story throughout the gameplay itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can do that through that.
True.
It
True.
works. And I don't want to have like 40 seconds cutscenes
True, it's
all the time.
understandable. No, no, it's understandable totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, okay. What is the goal, by the way, with the length of your game? Because it's also like an interesting thing to know about, or you still don't know.
I don't know how long it actually is going to be,
Okay,
but even with like the bigger demo I let my friends and family play, some people played like 25 minutes and it
okay,
was just one map.
okay.
So, and they just had fun. So
Nice, nice,
of
nice,
course,
nice.
when you're a completionist and you collect all the things you can collect, it takes time to do
True,
that.
true, 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 true.
But I would say typical indie game, a few hours.
Okay,
Um, Not like a super long game,
I see.
but with the possibility that you have a lot of side quests or things you can collect besides the main things you're going to have to do within the game,
I see.
and then it becomes longer. But I'm a parent, right? So I also do it for persons like me who just open it up, play for 20 minutes on the train, whatever. You completed something, you made progress, and you're good to proceed later on.
True, 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 true. Understandable. Yeah. Are you, by the way, planning to release your game in the future for other platforms as well? Because it would
I'm
make
planning
sense,
to
right?
do,
Because it's
yeah,
a platformer game, so
I'm planning to do, but I actually don't have anything settled into this
I see,
direction.
I
But
see, I see, I see.
I actually want to do it. But I'm also very grateful with Steam that it's such a direct connection to releasing a game compared to other
True, it's
possibilities when
true.
you
Yeah,
release
yeah.
to other platforms. And that's cool also with the Steam Deck as like a portable device. It's so cool to have that directly at hand
True.
and be able to work with it. it's a huge, yeah, also time saver, but huge leverage you can have
True.
into a mobile friendly direction, which especially for my game has always been important to me. So although I'm working in Unreal Engine and I could put the settings all to max if I'd like to, I try to keep it low tech to a certain degree so it runs also on smaller machines.
I see. I see. I see. By the way, when I first saw your game, I already knew that the main protagonist of your game will be an iconic character, and he's already is an iconic character. So, are you planning to like have a merchandise of him, like a
Yes,
statue or a
yes,
figurine?
yeah. Yes, I'd love to. Like somebody also mentioned, like a squeaky puppet or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly,
It would be
exactly,
so cool
exactly.
to have that.
Like a
Yeah, and
plushie.
I'd
Yeah,
love to because I also like merch myself,
nice,
and
nice, nice.
that's actually one of the reasons why I work in watercolor as well. Because when you put something out of the digital realm into the real world, I think that's when the real magic happens,
True,
right?
true,
When
true.
it makes that transition. So yeah, I'm planning to do this, but also I can't really say into
Yeah, it's
which direction.
understandable. Like you
Yeah,
cannot promise a date for that. Yeah, it's understandable. It's
yeah.
understandable. Okay, okay, nice. Love
But
that. Love
it's
that. Love
on
that.
my horizon, of course.
Love that. Love that. Love that. Okay. By the way, going back to the topic of coding and programming, what was the biggest challenge for you in that field of your life? Because we haven't spoken about that.
It's the biggest challenge is to gain the basic understanding how systems work.
I see.
Because once you understand that, it doesn't matter which coding language it is. Of course, I do most of it is it's just blueprint coding, so
I see.
it's visual scripting.
I see. I see. I see. I
But
see.
like the rules are the same
True.
for coding in general,
True. True. True.
and that's also the thing where I learn the most along the way, that I just get a basic understanding of the core principles about certain parts of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I see. I see. Okay. We touched here, by the way, a lot of topics. Before I ask some more questions, are you down to go into some community-oriented questions from my chat as well?
Yes,
Thank you,
of
thank you,
course.
thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know if there is any question. Hölgyek, urak, hogyha bármilyen kérdés van, nyugodtan kérdeztek. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Oh, by the way, um, I will also share the Steam link of your game, not just on my Discord, but here as well, so people can connect with it. Hölgyek, urak, bármilyen kérdés? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Bármilyen kérdés? Let us know. By the way, feel free to let me know, Oswin, if there is any topic that we haven't touched and you would like to talk about, because I'm free to.
I think we talked about a lot,
Yeah,
which
true,
was
true, true, true.
great.
Like
Yeah,
personal stuff, game oriented stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
Let me
yeah,
know. Let me know if.
absolutely. I'm good actually.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
creatively feeling good
Nice,
talking
nice,
about these
nice.
things.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, let us know. Let us know, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know. Don't be afraid to ask questions if you have any questions, and make sure that you
That's why we're here, right?
check.
To
True,
talk
true,
about
true, true,
things.
true, 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 true. Very true, very true, very true. What would be, by the way, while we are waiting for any questions on the chat, what would be the ultimate message that you always wanted to give with this little character of yours? Because, like you mentioned, the character itself was designed way back, way earlier, when you realized that you would like to make a game with him.
For me, he's the ultimate explorer in a way,
I see.
like curious explorer
I see.
without being afraid in a way, if you want to say so. but he's also living in a friendly world to a degree. But I think the ultimate message really relates to the whole cozy idea in a way. Not cozy in the sense that it's like boring or slow, because that's not what cozy is to me.
I see, I see.
But calm and friendly to a degree. That's actually the message for me is he's just a friendly, curious character, and if every one of us would be just a friendly and curious character, everything in the world would be better.
True. Life would be easier for everyone, not just us. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And also the playfulness,
True.
that's something a lot of people lose
True.
throughout their life.
True. True. We talked about that before our interview yesterday as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Do you think, by the way, this explorer in you, in your real life, found yourself with or by making your own game now? Or are you
Yeah,
still trying to explore a lot more
I'm
in your
still
life?
I think it's never gonna change.
I see, I see, I see. So it's
Exploring
like an
won't
ever
change.
going journey or forever
It won't
journey.
stop. Yes, exactly. It won't stop. So, but doing a game is the ultimate thing you can do to
I see,
explore.
I see,
There's so much you have to explore to make it work,
I see.
which can be intimidating, but I think it's worth it.
True,
Just trying.
true, 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 true. Going into the very far future, or at least like into like 2 more years from now on, are you still planning to deliver solo dev games as well after releasing Shadowbound? What's your plan or what's your dream, if I could say so?
My dream is to build on that,
Okay,
to do more of that.
okay. Would you
Yeah.
stay around this genre or in this genre of like calm and cozy and friendly games, like you said?
Yeah, friendly in a way. There should be a certain challenge to it, but speaking about the visuals and about the world, for me, it's always about like having a magical world in
Nice,
front
nice,
of you
nice.
that you explore. So that's also what will stay important to me.
I see, I see. Do you think like this main protagonist will stay with your journey as well in your next games as well? How do you feel about that?
Hopefully, if he likes to, we'll see.
I see, I see, I see, I see. Okay. Going back to the topic of cutting out things, by the way, that you mentioned and I talked about as well, what was the hardest, emotionally hardest part for you to cut out from your game that made you sad that, hey, I might not making the right decision now that I'm cutting this out because it's important to me?
Uh, Actually, it wasn't. I think in the state of mind I am, it's not tough for me to cut out stuff.
I see, okay.
Really not. It really isn't. But what's hard is to stay on track and not put new stuff and new stuff and new stuff
I
in it
see, I see, I
at
see,
a
I see.
constant basis. Because when you're capable of doing a lot of things, at least to a certain degree, you're always drawn to putting more stuff in. But that's not making it like a better game in the end to
True,
just have more. But
true.
it's better to focus on fewer things and makes them great. So some of the things I'm still planning to have in the game, I just have them in the backlog and I'm not touching them on purpose because with the things I have right now, which is, yeah, all the things that are in there right now, I try to get as far as possible and see, okay, is that fun enough? Or do I need more on top of that to
I
make it
see,
work, especially when you play longer? When is it going to become less entertaining and whatnot? So
I see.
I try to build it from the ground up and have less mechanics. Because when I think about like Mario Odyssey, which is like 20 games in one,
True,
there's so much in it.
true.
There's so
You
much,
always
and
learn
every
throughout playing the game, right? And moving
it's
forward.
absolutely mind blowing
True.
what's in there. So of course I can't compete with that in any degree, which is also fine because I'm just solo.
True.
But I also don't want to compete. I want to find my personal own balance within my game of what's important to me and what I would like to have in the game.
True, very true, very true. As a player, by the way, how your perspective changed now that you worked on games for so many years and that you are working on your own very own project?
Yeah, my perspective as a player,
Yes,
as an actual
that's
player.
correct. Yeah.
I try not to look at the mechanics of a game too much
Okay,
because I want to play a game just as a gamer,
I see.
not as a game dev. So I try to be two persons in that sense, that when I work on my own game, then that's my own realm. But when I play a game, of course I draw inspiration from other games, but I try not to jump at every new idea I get out of a game, because it might be a cool idea, but it could be too much for me when I work on my game, or it could be just the wrong mechanic for my game.
I see. I see. You mentioned like you touched the topic of comics, short movies as well. Could you imagine, by the way, yourself having comics and short movies around the IP that you are building now with Shadowbound? Having this character made into a comic
I
or a
could,
short movie or short animation movie?
yeah, I could think of that, but to be honest, as of right now, I try to completely focus on the
I
game,
see. I see.
because only when the game is being released, then I would allow myself to think into the other directions,
I see. I see.
to not walk into a trap where I start working on something else, or start thinking about other possibilities I could have with this IP when I build it. The groundstone is the game, and the game needs to work,
True. True.
and
True.
that's what I focus on.
I see. From all the experiences, by the way, you have now in your bag, and from all the knowledge that you have in your bag now, what would be your advice to those people who are in the video game industry now, even if they are starters and making their first game, even if they are willing to evolve their knowledge in the video game industry? What would be your advice, personal advice for them?
I would have the same advice a lot of others have,
Okay.
to start small,
Okay.
but I'm not the best example of to start small. But also, I do have a different background, because, of course, a 3D platformer is usually not the first thing you would do when you start your first
You
game,
jumped
because
right into the dream game of yours, right? We could
exactly,
say so.
exactly. But for me, like, the biggest concern I had was on the programming side. So
I
a lot
see.
of other aspects, I learned them through the years. So although I started working on my own solo game later in my life, I had a lot of time where I honed other skills. So now I can use them confidently, and I don't have to learn all of those skills
True,
at once.
true, true, true.
I can rely on certain skills, and that for me worked very well in my career, because when I started out, I was just doing 3D character animation. So that has been the one thing I focused on. And when I became very confident there, I started branching out, learning more things
I see.
out of my own interest, and because people asked me, like, could you also do that? And I was like, yeah, maybe, let's try. So that way I learned, I branched out into different fields.
I see.
And I think that's always, at least the way I see it, a good way to go, that you start with one thing where you become really good at, and then you learn other things.
You branch out, like you said. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also mentioned, by the way, that you always love to challenge yourself and you are this explorer, like the main character in your game too. What would be the topics that you would like to challenge yourself in for the future of yours?
I think the biggest challenge you can have in life is to finish things.
Okay. Okay. It's true.
That's such a big challenge.
True.
It's
True.
easy
True.
to start something. It's easy to work on something for a certain time period of time, but to finish, that's extremely hard to
True.
achieve. So that's always the biggest challenge. But apart from that, right now, I want to learn as much as I can about programming.
I see. I see.
That's my next branch out thing, I think.
Nice. 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 Okay. Okay. Let us know, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if there is any question. I know it's early in weekend day, but let us know. Let us know. Not just be a lurker, but let us know. Let us know. Hölgyek, urak, hogyha bármilyen kérdés van, nyugodtan kérdezzetek. And of course, wishlist. Wishlist the game called Shallow Pond if you like the idea. It's on Steam now, and you can check the screens, the pictures about the game on the Steam page. So yeah. We touched here, by the way, a lot of topics. Is there anything that we did not talked about or haven't talked about, and you would like to speak, even if it's about the game itself, or the games that you worked on for other companies, or your personal experiences, personal life, anything that would be important for you to talk about?
I think what's important to me in general is just to keep your independence as far as possible.
Okay. Okay.
Because it's easy to get drawn into chains of some kind in your
True.
life.
True. True.
So when you keep your independence to a certain degree, that's always a good idea. Because there's always going to be people who try to rip you off. It
True.
just happens.
True. True.
But other than that, no, I'm actually very fine. So we talked about a lot of topics, so I'm good.
Okay. Okay. You mentioned, by the way, these cases in people's life where like people try to drag you into other directions that you would like to be in. What helped you go through these times and not go with the people that try to like pull you like a puppet?
I think people are not to blame for that. It's just natural that they
True,
do it.
true. It's true. Yeah, yeah.
So it's not their fault. It's up to you to say no at certain points in your life.
Is it something that you learned throughout the life of yours, or is it something that you always knew
No,
from
no,
a
no. I have
child?
been really, really bad at that
I see.
for a long time. I always learn it and relearn it again because when you're a dreamer like I am, it's easy to get drawn into certain directions,
True,
and you
true, true,
always have to rearrange yourself into other directions
true.
to yeah.
I see. Okay. Okay. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for your honesty and for everything that we talked about, not just in this interview, but before our interview yesterday as well. I really appreciate your kind words and your kindness, and that you are down to push your message with your game to other people to help them. And I hope that your game will make a change, and I know that it will make a change, and it will reach people so they will be able to like reconnect with their inner child, because like I said, it's important for not just you but for me, and I think for a lot of people, and I believe that it should be like a thing that is thought in schools, not just throughout games or throughout social media or movies or books, but in school as well, because like we are on this path of like growing up but still forgetting about all the creative things and all the emotional things that should matter at the end of the day to everyone. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yes, you're welcome. I think it's important to have a lot of dreamers that
True.
because in the end, you need to have elbows to go someplace in your
True.
life, but at the same time, when you don't forget to dream about the things that are important to you and you make certain steps into this direction, then
True.
that's never a bad idea.
True.
That's what I think.
Very true. And at the end of the day, I think that every one of us is a dreamer. In some cases, it's just like you mentioned, not every one of us will make the first move in order to gain some results in their dream path. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way. And thanks
Yeah, you're
everyone.
welcome.
Thank you. And thanks everyone who joined us for today's episode of Dev Live Show. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any closing questions, let us know, and you will be able to ask questions in my Discord server as well. So please let me know if you have any questions. I know, like I said, it's weekend time. You're probably chilling, but let us know. Let us know if there is any question. Any question. Bármilyen kérdés, hölgyek, urak? Bármilyen kérdés? Now it's the chance for you to ask if you have questions. Let us know.
I think we also covered a lot. So
Yeah. Like we touched a lot of topics. No, there are usually times, by the way, in streaming, I figured out for like streaming now for more than 10 years. It will be actually like in March, will be the 11th anniversary of my Twitch channel career. So I figured out already that there are some like times in at some days and some points where like people, just lurk. They do their daily, job or like cooking or be with their family, but they are here, but they are not down to like use the chat that much. It's which is fine. Like they are listening, they are passively or actively listening. So yeah. But that's why I'm always saying that they will be able to ask questions in the Discord server as well. Okay, Minnie has a question, or at least she would like to ask something. Let us know, Minnie. Let us know. Let us know. Minnie, ha bármilyen kérdésed van, nyugodtan kérdez. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Do you have, by the way, any other social media pages that
yeah,
you would like to
you can
promote?
find.
Because I promoted your Twitter, your Steam page.
I'm on Blue Sky.
Blue
I'm on
Sky.
Threads.
Okay. Please send me over those links, and I will promote it on my Discord as well.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll send them to you.
Okay. Oh, Minnie has a question. Okay. Your game is very cute. I will translate it for you. So your game is very cute, and she's asking this question: are you planning to add what is it called in English? Seasonal changes into your game? Okay.
Oh, okay. Like for spring or for
Yeah,
Halloween
exactly.
or whatever.
Like winter. Yeah, like summer.
I will have different environments. I don't know if
I
it's
see.
going to be like seasonal
I see.
changes per se, but different looks of the environment
I
I
see.
will have, and all the other things. I'll look into it. It needs to feel right because
True.
first it just has to feel right in general, and I think it already does to a degree. And then I could put things on top of it.
I see.
And that could definitely be something that would be very rewarding to have in there, right? So
True. Very true. Very true. Very true. Thank you, by the way, for the question and the answer as well.
yes,
Thank you.
thank you, Vinny.
Thank you. Okay, any more questions? Any more questions? Bármilyen más kérdés, hölgyek, urak? Any more questions? Feel brave to ask questions. Don't be afraid. We are not biting here anyone, so
Nope.
feel
And
free.
I hope I'm nice enough.
You are, and I appreciate that. I'm telling you, when I first saw your game, I was like, come on, man, I need to know what this game is about, and why he made this such a cool and looking and cute game. And it's interesting when you mentioned, like, when you talked about at the beginning of our interview, that your game is not that type of cozy game which people might be expecting, because like coziness is not always like calm and only just friendly things, right? You have to like
No, it's not.
comfort like with enemies as well in your game, which is can be a reflection to our real life, that we have to comfort like bad things happening in our life. So it's life,
Cozy,
right? So you will gain experience from that, and you can have a fun time after completing those things as well. So people have to understand
exactly.
that.
Cozy doesn't. I'm not. I know I step onto a lot of feet when I try to define what cozy is.
Yeah.
Everyone defines it differently, which is cool. For me, it's just trying to say that it's not going to be a hardcore game
True,
where
true,
you
true, true, true.
like have to perfectly hit the jump or whatnot.
Yeah, and I
I try,
don't I don't even, sorry for interrupting, but I don't even believe that there is like a super perfectly cozy game in which like you do not have to face any challenges, or like it's just a chill thing, because that doesn't exist in our real life too. How could it exist in a game, right? So it's like you have to have some challenges in order to feel the game gamey, right? So
exactly, yes. And also when you do like a 3D platformer, it's it's tough to understand the distance you're jumping,
true,
especially when you're jumping from platform to
true,
platform in the air. You don't have the right feeling for the distance
true,
in 3D space. So it's easy to jump past a certain obstacle or not far enough, and you don't realize it, and then it's frustrating.
true,
So
true,
for me, it's important to make it as rewarding as possible. When you jump, then you have a good feeling and you have a
true.
lot of mechanisms that help you to make the
Responsive
jump.
to the player from the gameplay side. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. When you drop down an edge, then that happens, but it shouldn't
It's like
feel
learning
for
to
the
walk as
player.
a baby, right? It's similar case, like
Exactly.
true.
Yeah, but the player shouldn't be feel like, yeah, in a way, I don't want the player to feel like the game is cheating on him or her.
I see, I see, I see, I see, I see.
They should be in control, and it shouldn't look like, oh, now the game's cheating on me. I should have made the jump, but I didn't.
I see, I see, I see. Yeah. Thank you for that, by the way. Oh, Minnie already added to the wish list of hers. Nice. Thank you, Minnie.
Thank you.
Oh, and another question from Minnie. When we as players will be able to try out the game? Any plans for a beta or a demo or an alpha version of your game?
Yeah, I'm working on a
We
small
talked
demo,
about
and
that, yeah,
when
already.
when I release it, I will promote it, and
Nice, nice, nice,
uh,
nice.
everyone will be able to apply for it. But
Nice.
I can't really tell right now. But
Yeah,
when
it's
it's going to
understandable.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it, and I'm putting a lot of effort in it to make it
Nice.
happen,
Nice.
because I want that too.
True. True. Very true. Thank you, Minnie, again for the question and the kind words. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the answer as well. Thank you. Thank you, Oswin.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I think we're very good as of
Yeah.
now. And
Yeah. Thanks everyone, by the way, who joined us for today's episode. And don't forget to wishlist Shallow Pond on Steam. Be on the lookout for the demo as well. And thank you, Oswin, that you joined us for today's episode. I really, like I said, I really appreciate your honesty and your friendship that you joined us for this time of day, and you gave your time to me and to us to learn from your personal life as well, and your experiences being a game dev, being also a family person and a father. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Like I said
thanks for
before,
having me.
thank you. And like I said, I will need some more of your minutes of stream. But for those who joined us for today's episode, thank you that you gave your time for us to be with you and talk about video games and personal life in the game industry as well. Be on the lookout for the demo Shallow Pond. Don't forget to wishlist the game and to check our friends' social media page updates about the game as well. And yeah, have a great weekend, everyone. Have a great day or night, depending